Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside the Americas with me, Jeannie Godula. Here's a look at today's show. Close to 30 Central American migrants made it through the border to the U.S. this week. We will look at the 100 from the infamous caravan still waiting outside. Then another bombshell in the Russia investigation as reports come out that Special Counsel Robert Mueller raised the notion of subpoenaing Donald Trump. And we'll take you to the beautiful sand beaches of Tulum in Mexico, a tiny bit of paradise that's now under threat. First, focus in the U.S. this week was on a caravan of Central American migrants stuck on the Mexican border. After 3 nights sleeping outside, close to 30 among them were allowed to request asylum in the United States. But 100 more are still waiting in the makeshift camp in Tijuana. Claire Rush explains.
A flicker of hope for a select few. Around 30 migrants, mostly women and children, have been allowed to request asylum at San Diego's San Ysidro crossing, according to an official with U.S. Customs and Border Protection. But more than 100 caravan members from Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador remain in the makeshift camp in Tijuana, waiting their turn to plead their case.
We are not going to move away from that door until they hear us and give us a positive answer. We are not criminals. We are people fleeing our country.
The caravan set off from southern Mexico more than a month ago, swelling to 1,500 people at its largest. They trekked some 3,000 kilometers across Mexico, many fleeing violence in their home countries. Meanwhile, on Monday, U.S. Vice President Mike Pence was busy touring a California construction site where Donald Trump's border wall is being built. He said the caravan's asylum seekers will eventually be processed under U.S. law, but claimed they were victims of activists and smugglers south of the border.
The simple reality is that this caravan and caravans that have come before are a result of individuals who are attempting to exploit the suffering of people in Central America to try and advance their agenda for open borders and to change the laws of the United States of America.
Trump has lashed out at this migrant caravan in the past and has long called for stricter border patrol.
Our immigration laws in this country are a total disaster. They're laughed at all over the world. They're laughed at for their stupidity.
The Department of Homeland Security has said it will process all asylum claims, but warned that false claims could be prosecuted.
Our picture of the week is this one, an abandoned apartment building blazing in Brazil's biggest city, Sao Paulo. It burned for hours before collapsing, leaving at least 1 person dead. Dozens of firefighters fought the blaze, which was thought to have been caused by a gas explosion. The 26-story high-rise was occupied by squatters at the time. Witnesses say the crash from the collapse felt like a tsunami. Here's another look now at some other big stories from across the Americas this week.
In the U.S., Special Counsel Robert Mueller has raised the prospect of issuing a subpoena for President Donald Trump, forcing him to testify before a grand jury. According to media reports, Mueller suggested the idea at a meeting with Trump's lawyers, floating it in case the president refused to face investigators as part of a probe into alleged Russian meddling in the 2016 election. The latest revelations come after a list of questions for Donald Trump from Robert Mueller was leaked to the New York Times. Questions focusing not only on collusion with Russia, but also on possible obstruction of justice. Trump criticized the media on Twitter, calling the leak disgraceful and repeating his claim that the Russia probe is a witch hunt. Some 350 victims of human trafficking have been freed in a major police operation across the Caribbean and South America. The international police agency Interpol said those rescued were subjected to sexual abuse and forced labor. They were discovered working in nightclubs, farms, mines, factories and open-air markets, having been lured across borders by traffickers and promises of a better life. Police arrested 22 individuals during the operation, which marked the culmination of a 2.5-year investigation. The world's largest social network will soon have its own dating app, taking on market leaders Match.com and Tinder. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg made the announcement at the firm's annual developers conference in San Jose, California.
So today, we are announcing a new set of features coming soon around dating. Now, this is going to be for building real long-term relationships, all right, not just hookups. Was a major breach of...
The announcement comes as Facebook continues to face fierce criticism over its handling of users' data. As part of efforts to restore confidence, Zuckerberg said the firm was building a new clear history tool, which will allow users to see which apps have access to their information and delete all data from their accounts.
The white sand and turquoise waters of Tulum in Mexico are right out of a vacation brochure. And while tourism has helped the town's economy, it's also come at a price. Concrete construction projects are shooting up all over the place, and Tulum is now faced with big problems of deforestation and pollution. Ivana Scatola has more now on this little spot of paradise under threat.
A stretch of idyllic coastline that goes on for miles. Tulum, in the east of Mexico, lies on the Caribbean Sea. It's where the Mayan people chose to build their temples, and now it attracts millions of tourists each year who come to stay in the town's hotels hidden amongst the palm trees. At this high-end chic resort, rooms go for 300 to 700 euros a night.
So here's what the beaches are like in Tulum. Turquoise sea, waves, isn't it a paradise? Can you see how white the sand is? That's what really gives the place its charm.
And the charm continues inside to the hotel's interiors. Everything is made from natural materials, including the outside bathroom and yoga room. It's a big hit with American tourists.
Love it. And you can't do wrong. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's beautiful. It's easy to get to. It's simple. We don't even have to wear shoes. I love it. I can see where maybe it's getting to be too built up. I worry that could happen.
Some are worried it will become a victim of mass tourism, following its Mexican neighbours Cancun or Playa del Carmen, seaside resorts ruined by concrete. But authorities in Tulum continue to give out construction permits, and each month a new project crops up. One place which should theoretically be safe from this problem is Tulum's National Park, where it's against the law to build.
We are seeing that the left side is not allowed to be built, but they are still doing it illegally. Like, for example, in the back, hidden between the palm trees, there is construction and no one knows about this.
Certain beach restaurants have been given closure notices that aren't being respected. The story is always the same. The owners first install a simple beach hut, then they expand it, building in the protected area until it becomes an illegal hotel.
They keep building without permits. Hotels, restaurants, car parks. The only explanation is that there's corruption.
More hotels means more visitors for Tulum, which has struggled with the consequences of mass tourism. A stretch of plastic and waste lies just kilometres from the beach. Hotels and local residents came here for years to dump their rubbish.
This is the evidence that we do not have the capacity to receive the mass tourism we receive nowadays. It's a sanitary emergency. We dive in this underground world, and this is above us, in the water that we drink.
But tourism development has only just started. Only a few months ago, this tarmac road was built right in the middle of a forest so that visitors could reach the sea more easily. And 800 properties are currently being built just 15 minutes away. With rooftop pools and terraces, they make perfect holiday homes.
This development we sold in about 3 months, 100%. No, I don't think Tulum's growing too fast. Sometimes I feel like we're too slow.
According to this property developer, the price of apartments is going up by 15% a year. And authorities say that in less than a decade, the population will be 4 times its current size. It seems this little spot of paradise is now, more than ever, under threat.
Well, we'll leave you now on Broadway with our number of the week. The Tony nominations celebrating the best and brightest of the New York theater scene have come out, with 2 Broadway musicals getting 12 nods each. They're both typical of this year's theater crop that's taken most of its inspiration from pop culture. First, Mean Girls, the musical, was written by comedian Tina Fey, who also wrote the 2004 film by the same name. Then, SpongeBob, of course, is based on the cartoon series that's now been turned into a musical itself. Finally, the two-part extravaganza, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, inspired by the hit books by J.K. Rowling, got 10 nominations as well. The Tony Awards ceremony will be held June 10th at New York's Radio City Music Hall. We'll leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching this Inside the Americas. We'll see you again next week for all the news from north to south.
Sexual harassment, pay gaps, a lack of interesting female roles, and few chances for women behind the camera. The power imbalance in film is as old as the Hollywood Hills. Join us from Tinseltown as we speak to the people calling Time's Up.
Encore on France 24 and France24.com.
France 24 es rigurosidad, precisión y responsabilidad. Somos una familia comprometida con el periodismo y la verdad.
C'est une des seules chaînes d'infos où on nous laisse jouer en plateau avec des Legos, avec des robots, avec tout un tas d'objets.
We take a return ticket to revisit some of the key people and places of the last 50 years of world television news.
على فرانس 24 يمكننا أن نحاور أصحاب القرار من العالم في كل الميادين ولدينا المساحة لكشف ثنايا مسيرتهم.
Aquí en France 24 tenemos a varias personas de distintos países, algo que es un reflejo de cómo es Latinoamérica, con culturas muy distintas. Y allí es muy bonito encontrar que en el deporte todos tenemos algo en común.
Les femmes, elles sont souvent victimes de l'actualité internationale, mais ce sont aussi des actrices majeures de la géopolitique. Et d'ailleurs, on en parle dans France 24.